Alright guys, welcome back. Today we're doing something a little different. No fancy editing, no cuts, no highlights reel, just me, an iPhone, a microphone, and a 6-month-old German Shepherd named River. And we're going to work through his very first real training session from start to finish so you can see exactly what this process looks like in real life. Let's go. Meet River. River is 6 months old, strong for his age, and has basically zero formal training. The only command he knows right now is sit. No leash manners, no engagement, no directional awareness. He's not a problem dog. No aggression, no serious behavioral issues. He's just a blank slate, a puppy. And that's actually perfect, because this is exactly the kind of dog most of you at home are working with. Starting with the slip leash and why we switched. We start with a slip leash. Within about 30 seconds, it's clear that River pulls hard and doesn't respond to leash pressure at all. When a dog that size leans into a slip leash, all that force concentrates on one point of the neck. That's not safe, especially for a growing dog. So we make the switch to a prong collar. Now, I know some people hear prong collar and immediately tense up. So let me explain the reasoning. A prong collar distributes pressure evenly around the neck rather than concentrating it in one spot. When used correctly, and that's the key phrase, it's actually a gentler and safer tool for a strong dog that hasn't yet learned to yield to leash pressure. And that brings up an important distinction I want you to understand before we go any further. Correction versus direction. Know the difference. There are two things happening when you work a leash, and they are not the same thing. A correction is a quick, deliberate pop, a clear signal that says that behavior is not what I'm asking for. Direction is a steady, consistent pressure that guides the dog into position, more like how a rider communicates with a horse. Not a snap, just a sustained, calm signal that says, this way. Both have their place. The problem most dog owners run into is that they either correct constantly without direction, or they give direction without ever clearly marking what's wrong. River needs both right now, in the right moments for the right reasons. Building engagement. Before we work on anything else, before sit, before heel, before anything, we need River to pay attention. Engagement means the dog is tuned in to the handler. Eyes checking in, awareness of where you are and where you're moving. Right now, River is completely in his own world. He's sniffing, drifting, doing his own thing. That's not his fault. He's a puppy and he doesn't know me yet. So, here's how we build engagement quickly. I move forward, and the moment he drifts out of attention, I change direction. I turn into him. He gets a leash pop. Not because he did something bad, but because he wasn't present when I moved. That pop is information. Hey, pay attention, I changed direction. Within a few repetitions, something clicks. He starts watching me. He starts anticipating my turns. And every single time he gets it right, he gets rewarded. Food, praise, a clear yes. Positive reinforcement isn't a soft option here. It's an essential tool. We use beef liver treats in a training pouch. Keep rewards accessible, keep them meaningful, keep them coming when the dog earns them. Building the heel. Once engagement starts to develop, we can introduce the heel properly. Heel means the dog walks on your left side, on a loose leash, matching your pace and adjusting when you stop or turn. That's it. But getting there requires breaking it into very small pieces. We're talking 6 to 7 steps at a time. Move forward, stop, sit. That's 1 rep. Then a break, meaning the dog gets to relax, sniff, just be a dog for a moment. And then we go again. This rhythm matters. Work, break, work, break. The break isn't a reward for bad behavior. It's the natural structure of a training session. Dogs, especially puppies, need to decompress between learning cycles. Skipping breaks creates frustration and stress that works against everything you're trying to build. When we come back into work mode after a break, River goes back on my left side and we start building again. For directional changes, inside turns, I step into him, turning toward my left. This naturally drives him back into position. Outside turns, I rotate away from him, and he has to hustle to catch up and stay alongside me. Both directions teach him to track my body, not just follow the leash. The auto sit. One of the most useful things a dog can learn in the early stages is the auto sit, stopping when you stop without being told. We build this by simply stopping, waiting, and reinforcing the moment his rear hits the ground. Over time, the halt itself becomes the cue. No verbal command needed. You stop, he sits. By the end of this first session, River is doing this. He's not perfect, but he's doing it. In less than 20 minutes of work. Holding a position. What gets overlooked in a lot of beginner training? It's not just about getting the dog into a position. It's about the dog staying in that position until you release him. I put River into a sit and I hold him there for 30 to 45 seconds. He fidgets. He wants to break, but I keep him there. Calmly, without force, just patient leadership, and I pay him while he holds it. What we're building here isn't just a sit. We're building the understanding that the next move comes from the handler, not from the dog. That concept that you wait for direction, that you don't self-release, that the green light comes from me is one of the most foundational things a dog can learn. When dogs don't have that structure, they start making their own decisions. They pull, they lunge, they react. They develop anxiety because nobody ever told them clearly what was expected. That insecurity is where behavioral problems are born. This is how you prevent it, not by being harsh, but by being consistent and clear from the beginning. What we accomplished today. In one session with a puppy who knew nothing except sit, here's what River now understands. How to yield to leash pressure without panic, how to stay engaged with a handler while walking, inside turns and outside turns, the beginning of a proper heel, loose leash, left side, matching pace, an auto sit when the handler stops, and the difference between working mode and break mode. That's not nothing. That's a foundation. A note for people at home. If you're watching this with your own dog, here's what I want you to take away. You don't need fancy equipment or a training facility. You need consistency, clear communication, and patience. Use small increments, give your dog real breaks, reward the right behaviors immediately and clearly. Correct when needed, not angrily, not repeatedly, just once and clearly, and then move on. And build structure early. It is so much easier to establish leadership with a 6-month-old than it is to undo the damage of 2 years of no boundaries. The dogs I see with serious aggression and anxiety issues almost always have one thing in common. Nobody gave them a clear framework when they were young. River is starting off right, and your dog can too.